Hello, Sarah, again, my love.
Hello.
Act like we don't live together all the time. Oh. Yay.
Yay.
Hello. We were currently on our sixth. It would be 6-7. It would be our 6-7th rewatch of the American Office, which is a bit embarrassing. But then we were like, oh.
The premise of this show is that obviously time has passed since The Office. It's the same documentary crew. I think they've said, is it 20 years later? Are we that old?
Yeah, 2005 was when The Office began.
Yuck. And they're just setting up shop again somewhere else. It does start on a cute moment with Bob Vance from Vance Refrigeration talking about Dunder Mifflin not being there anymore. But we're in a new place. We're in Baltimore and we're following a paper journalism company co-owned by Softies who supply a bunch of toilet paper, which is really where the money's coming from. And this is like an extra sort of tax write-off thing.
It's a legacy brand because it was once a really important thing in the 70s and now like no one has the heart to shut it down. And it was, I mean, at the start, it's just a place doing a clickbait stuff. Yeah,
it's stuff to farm, information from users and kind of, I guess, feed it back into maybe Softies or any other companies that they own.
And the setup is that the office floor is primarily dominated by the Softies crew. There's just like a little square that belongs to the triple T's, to the something truth tellers. Yeah.
Isn't it just the truth teller?
No, there's the third T, the truth teller maybe.
Chad, am I muted? That's what I just said.
Sorry. So the triple T people are in the middle there, and then our main character, Ned, is showing up for his first day of work.
And it kind of gets set up that maybe he's just, fresh meat, someone else to come in and, doe-eyed, very excited for this new world, but is going to be slammed into reality of how bad the journalism is. But actually, this is the new editor-in-chief.
Yes, and Esmeralda, who we met at the start, who's most notably known to us from The White Lotus Season 2, and she has a Michael Scott-esque where she walks around and has I loved her from the start. I know there seems to be a debate of when did people start to like Esmeralda or did they hate them the whole time?
Really?
When she got Nicole's face and mushed her, I went, oh, this is great. I thought that was really just a funny, ridiculous shot.
Interesting that's your moment to be like, I like this.
I like this.
Touch her face more.
Says you was like, damn, look at her ass every time.
Okay.
So,
I was just appreciating another human being. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the twist is that Ned, who is a plucky, he has that great line of, I wanted to be Clark Kent, not Superman.
Yeah.
And a Superman's telling people how to save it or whatever it was. He's kind of if you're a Parks and Rec person, he's like the Ben Wyatt equivalent.
Yeah, he does very much feel like a Ben Wyatt, copy paste in a way.
He's a nice guy who's more or less a reasonable person, but then he has weird little quirks or nerdisms.
Yeah.
And so it's about him trying to bring the passion to the newspaper back and make it an actual proper newspaper again. And how he's just going to get on with these people. And really the first season is about him putting it in a place where it needs to be across 10 episodes. There's a few fun things like Oscar, who is horrified to find that the documentary crew have returned, have said that he goes, you don't have permission to film me, but then it cuts to the
little intertitles basically of the documentary crew responding to people, which happens every now and then, sparingly, maybe one every 3 episodes.
They're back to doing what my little pet peeve is when we talk about these shows, is how in the original Office, they'll turn down their microphones in the US one, and they're where the cameras are there. But then when you get to Parks and Rec, they're just using it as a way for characters to directly tell the audience what's going on. It's not really a documentary. Yeah. And then particularly when you get to
Brooklyn
Modern
Nine-Nine,
Family, that barely does it. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine just borrowed the visual and didn't even do it.
Yeah.
It's multicam. There's at least 2 or 3. But then there will be moments where whenever they go to a new place, they make sure that extras or a person they're communicating with will look at the camera like it's very weird they're here. And then there's one point where a whole plot point revolves around that someone admitted to something on camera when they go into the bed mattress place to hunting a story.
Oh, yeah.
And then the guest goes, well, you never prove it. They go, well, we've got a whole camera crew here. And she's like, oh, damn. So they're keeping to the reality of some things. But then,
I guess they're outside. So otherwise, if they were inside the store, she would be like, I'm not saying jack in front of those cameras.
And there are obviously certain moments where you have to, without spoilers, the ending moments of this feel like the cameras wouldn't be there, but they are there.
Yeah, it definitely, I guess my overall feelings towards it, without spoilers, is that it does just feel like another good quality, funny sitcom that we can watch, like Superstore.
if it wasn't the Office spin-off.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, it doesn't really feel like it's connected or in the same realm as The Office, because for me, the main selling point for The Office and the reason I love it and go back to it is because it does feel as real as a TV show could be, especially an American TV show that's just mundane and nothing looks good. Everything's drab.
Particularly the UK one. It feels like a documentary at times.
Which is like the point of why they did that. But I can feel the 20 years later and we have, lovely lenses and we're taking the effort to make everything like a shallow depth of field and make it look beautiful. And that took me a while to sit with. Like a few episodes I had to just ignore it because at first it bothers me because it takes me out of the realism. Okay, so they're going to spend 20 minutes trying to set this one little bit of B-roll up? I don't think so. Like the whole point is that everything's kind of meant to be in focus. It's not the prettiest because it should be focusing on the characters themselves.
It's a good point. They play with your expectations. They maybe subvert them, if you will, because so many of these Office type shows, particularly the Australian Office, all revolves around the boss being just a kooky person. Yeah. And so in this, you have the setup that there's not just one, but there's two kooky people who are in charge, Esmeralda and Ken. Ken being in English, at some points doing a bit of David Brent at times, it feels like.
Yes, he definitely feels like they've put a touch of David Brent in him just to get some cringe out. Yeah. Some in that way. But
yeah, and Esmeralda, who is like
a HR walking nightmare.
Yeah, she's absolutely ridiculous. But I love that. Unlike the Australian Office, it seems only Australia got to suffer. I don't think it was available in any other countries.
It really sucks because to me, our country and our culture, we love our English humor. I find that we tend to favor English comedies over American.
We do, yeah.
As a nation. But then when it comes to us doing our own comedy stuff, I feel like it's just never funny and it misses the mark.
The last one laughing at Australia just evolved to people doing literal shit jokes. Yeah, for some reason we just kind of bottle it when it comes to any kind of... The moment the camera's on, Australia seems to struggle to be funny, it seems.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the Australian Office was better than expected, but our expectations were on the floor. So I would say the paper is more enjoyable sooner than the Australian Office. Yeah. Like, it finds its rhythm. Like, again, by episode 4 or 5, we were like, oh, this is actually quite funny. There's some good moments in this. Like, the characters are starting to settle in a bit more.
Which is what these shows need. It's something that we complain about a lot with Netflix, where... there's so many shows that took a while to find their feet, and the American Office is the example of that. So for this to have the 10 episodes and to see it, like, first 3 episodes, light spoilers, Esmeralda's main plot is to try and ruin Ned and get rid of him, and always try and like seem that he's going to get fired because she wants to go back to being in charge and then make the site just a clickbaity site again. Yeah. So she's trying to trip him at every point, but then around halfway through, she actually decides to give this journalism stuff a go and has an actual fun episode with it. Yeah. And is actually quite good at it in her weird little way.
Well, because she would be. She has no boundaries.
She has, exactly. So she has no problems just asking people questions or being a large distraction for someone. And her and Mare's episode, I thought that those two complemented. It's a straight one with
straight clown with the silly clown, yeah.
And then like that Ken is kind of quietly holding a candle for her. He's not like outwardly loving her, but he clearly has kind of a crush on her or likes it just being those two together.
I feel like he would just be in love with anyone he kind of was spending most of his day with. Like, he's just that desperate and hopeless.
Exactly.
Which works because David Brent would do the same thing.
Yes. They've set up the blocks really well. There are still we felt that some of the best episodes was when the whole crew is getting involved, because there's characters who right now we can't remember the name to, like the older... I don't say the Stanley equivalent.
He definitely feels like a Stanley insert, unfortunately.
He's borderline retirement. Like, he really shouldn't be there. But it all makes up for, and potential spoilers, in the last episode, he brings his dad as a +1. And so he goes, have you met my father? And we went, what? And it pans to a man who looks dead.
Yeah. He's basically just lying there dead.
He's got the nostril thing in.
For what?
It was just a great gag.
But it looked like the actor was the same age, to be honest.
Yeah, but they just made him look worse. And there's some great background humour. Like, there's a carry-on over where Ken and Esmeralda are plotting the downfall of Ned. Yeah. But then they realise that not only the camera's watching them, but also the janitor, who seemingly does nothing by himself in the basement, is there. And so they have to then plot that he's addicted to drugs. And because he's addicted to drugs, he's making up all sorts of plots that people are plotting all the time. So they tell the boss, who then gets him in a
like a sobriety program or something.
And then in episode 9, he goes, 1 month sober, everyone. And he's just using it as his way to get in the office, basically.
Yeah.
So some great background humour like that.
Yeah, it initially feels like they're... But it's not, because he's not like his life's changing for the worse.
No.
But you almost want to think about the Always Sunny in Philly stuff where like all the characters around them have this extended narrative of having their lives completely fall apart to the point where they're homeless, you know.
I wonder if it has an element of, because Ted Lasso obviously has had a massive impact in terms of shows being like having a positive spin.
Yeah.
Particularly with Apple, where they've done Shrinking, and then whatever the golf one we watched recently that we liked. Stick. Like they kind of err on the side of being positive and nice.
Yeah, I guess having like what would Bluey be like for adults?
Sure.
Like, what's our emotional learning curve here?
And I get that sense here a little bit, that it errs on the caution of coming together and being positive. It's not obviously as cringy as Crash as a mid-2000s like show was.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as obvious as having like a lesson each episode though.
No.
But it is definitely the, typical American Hollywood ending. Let's make sure we try to stay positive and not dwell.
It's not breaking new ground the way The Office did. It in some ways feels like something that, assuming that this runs for 5-6 seasons, will be just our new rotation.
Yeah.
Our new comfort rotation. And that's what I think a lot of these shows are for people. Like The Office has stayed popular, mainly probably because millennials millennials like us, or zillennials in your case, are...
Thank you. Put some respect on my age.
Continually watching it, but then new audiences will just discover it and binge it too. It's why it's stayed relevant, because people rediscover it.
If I can touch towards the finale episode and speak spoilery, I would say it was interesting to me how prominent they made that finale episode, like the big plot point between Ned and Mare. Like, I wasn't expecting their like romantic relationship. Like, obviously it's there the whole time and they have that bit of, clearly these people care for each other more than what they expect, and they have those weird moments of just kind of flipping on each other where they're realizing that, well, I shouldn't care and whatever. They
did it subtly enough, didn't they?
Yeah, I expected it to play out a bit more. So it was interesting to me that by the finale, you do have them getting together, and it's not a very real like, Domhnall Gleeson, let me tell you, an on-screen kiss, and I liked it. I liked the way that man worked. It was good.
I think our few little things, which is, it's a nice problem to have, gang. I want more from these characters, like Nicole and that guy who she's maybe hooking up with.
Not Detrick.
Detrick. That's it, Detrick.
Because it's not Derek, it's Detrick.
And then guy who has a wife and 4 kids who's a bit of a simpleton.
Yeah, I like the insert of him being the like token millennial. Like, I found that there were some funny... Initially, I was like, I didn't really like him as a character. I thought he was kind of useless.
Just a dumb guy.
But then I started to appreciate the happily married with kids. Yeah, I love a good millennial humor. It's a good outlet for it, I think.
And it sounds weird, but someone was knowing that shows are either about people in their teens or 20s or in their like fully 40s or 50s. You don't get enough 30-year-olds. And this has a lot of, it feels like 30-year-olds, like, Nicole actress is 27.
20s,
yeah, they're in that kind of portion of life that we're in. So it's nice to see yourself in that age range being shown. But like New Girl had that too. They're all in their like late 20s, 30s.
Sort of that quarter life crisis.
Exactly. So I wanted more from those two as characters. I thought they were like that. They kind of said, "Oh, we're going to hook up," and I think that's probably the fault, is that since they're too backgroundy at the moment. But then it took the original Office a few seasons. I mean, Creed was originally an extra who got to be a character, and Meredith became an alcoholic by season 2 or season 3.
Yeah.
So it takes a while for them to find themselves.
They probably have a bigger plan for these characters, and they just know that the
cause,
the introducing everyone, there's just no space for them. Like, they've each had at least something funny. Maybe, I don't know if I found myself laughing at any of Detrick's moments yet.
Oh, I remember just sort of laughing at when he pretends to be hating on them from the softy side and sends an email
I lied.
going,
That was so funny.
"Love you, miss you guys."
Yeah,
like,
I'm just trying to fit in. Sorry, miss you.
But other than that, it's interesting that they've kind of went back to formula. Brooklyn Nine-Nine to me felt like the show where it's like everyone needs to be fun, because if someone was to suddenly leave, it wouldn't feel like a hole. Because when Michael left The Office, it just feels like we're trying to replace that hole for 2 seasons. Where with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, thankfully the character who left was the one I hate the most, so it was fine.
I do worry because they've set this first season up so like plot-centric and goal-oriented that now that they've finished that arc for the season, are they going to be able to keep the rhythm? Like each season, are they going to have a final destination for the finale?
Not to counteract, but like the original Office was, we're downsizing.
That was kind of the ongoing thing for multiple seasons, I feel like, though. It was always in the background to give them something when they needed it. But really, you have standalone episodes of, like the Olympics episode. Like, what dumb shit are these people getting up to? Whereas this is so based on them succeeding as a newspaper now.
It's about them wanting to be good at their job, where the original Office was, what do you get up into in a boring office job that existed a lot in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, and now it's meant to be more so, I guess, like what's the state of the world and the way we report on things, let alone like actually absorb information.
It's definitely more of a hotbed topic, particularly when you see that at the very start when Esmeralda's walking you through one of her favourite articles and it's just a wall of ads and minor text.
And then it tells you about the colors and then what car that color comes in.
And then he paid him $500. Wow.
Yeah.
The original Office, despite being in the mid-2000s, because there are no smartphones, has a timeless energy to it, where this, obviously, there's not a big leaning on it. It's just of its time.
I think they've done it tastefully enough because when you think about The Office, it does still rely on the emergence of tech and like how is technology going to wipe out our industry, and they've done the same with the paper, that they know that technology is kind of interfering with this older form of communication. And I don't think we've relied too much on technology in the plot lines per se. It's not like they're all COVID era episode. Like they're not always on their phones and doing stuff. Like we see them on computers mostly.
And what's interesting is there's a few moments, 2 or 3 moments, we cut back to archival documentary footage from the 70s of when the paper was at its the Toledo Truth Teller.
Toledo Truth Teller, you are right. It wasn't the.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if I necessarily needed or care or want that.
What's interesting is, unlike the other shows that are like the juggernauts of this genre of American sitcom, is that it hasn't got a host of like silly old characters yet. Parks and Rec would be another one. It took them season 2 to really find
they're like Chris and Ben weren't even in it for the first.
Yeah, the back end of season 2 they wander in. Yeah.
The thing I hate actually the most about those insert documentary parts is that they didn't even try to edit the sound to be authentic from whenever it was recorded.
City Council, a third of them indicted on bribery charges today, thanks to our reporting.
Like it's meant to look like this old, square box film reel hand crank sort of thing, and then the sound's like crisp quality.
But then,
like, what's going on?
Even though we'd point out at the start, there's a bit where they have cut something out of that documentary, and it goes into a lower quality. So I took that as being an implication that we've remastered this so well. Even the audio's great.
I just took it as a joke because they wanted to redact whatever he said. But who are we to say?
Yeah. Overall, though, we've set the foundations for another good sitcom show that isn't, because I feel like the dickheads of the internet, it's not cramming you down with any kind of social messages.
Basically just that ads are bad, and I think most people don't like to be constantly treated like as a consumer.
You could read it that Ned is forever worried of being cancelled. Like, it's not a joke, but like whenever anyone is like, I don't want you to like do that, or like...
Yeah. If you're comfortable, because I know I'm in a position of power.
Yeah, so it's there's a bit of commentary on there, but then also it's not like, oh, isn't it annoying that the boss just can't simply pinch her on the arse? It's just saying that like he's a nice guy, but it's a bit of humour there sometimes, which I liked. I think, I wish this could run 22 episodes because I think they would have found it more and more.
I think the second season, surely they'll jump up, because I feel like that's what they did with most things, is they give it like a casual 10, test the waters, and then, people responded well, 20 each season.
Yeah. But I wouldn't mind seeing like a bit more from it, and hopefully with HBO at least, the Pit's we've already got the trailer for season 2, and that's coming in January. I really think that this is a show that you surely can turn around quick enough.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting tired. I mean, there's already rumours that House of the Dragon might be pushing.
House of the Dragon. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Well, it's just annoying that you have to wait. Like, it's hard to believe that 10, 15 years ago, you were getting a new Game of Thrones every single year. Feels like a good cheap show that you could like you could hit again.
Yeah, I do. I miss like just crammable, gobbleable content.
How many years was it between season 2 and 3 of Somewhere I Turned Pretty?
Oh, I don't know. Let's not talk about that because
Who watches that?
that's a mess.
Not Sarah.
Ew, as if you'd watch teen romance things. They're in college now, okay? It's not creepy.
But still, like it's I don't know if it's just a budgetary thing, but it's something we're seeing across the board where these shows, but sitcoms, it's why they're still here. They're cheap, affordable. It primarily takes place in one location.
Yeah.
You should be able to turn this around real quick.
I do wonder what the second season's going to look like if the more serial, episodic nature of the plot lines is going to be case of the day. You know, you need to go down to this place and look at all the quirky characters we meet along the way who you have to interview. Like, is it that formulaic?
That's the strength of it, Rise, that it's something that they can do, that they can go to a ridiculous place. And also, we'll commend it for not leaning too heavy on heavy Office references.
Yeah.
There's just one or two moments where Oscar seemingly brings up Stanley, and then he quotes Michael Scott's quote of "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take."
Yeah.
And like other than that, it's really kept quite classy. I'm sure if it takes off, we'll meet the paper supplier salesman's coming in, and it's Michael or whatever. I'm sure Steve Carell, if the show goes big, will wander on in at some point.
I did really like Oscar's moment. I found like I was too emotionally invested in it because they all have to find their strengths for writing in the new revamped paper, and he comes up with the puzzles, which is really cute. And that's when he calls Stanley to be like, "Did you see it? Did you see I put that one in there for you?" You know, like it's just cute.
And he invents a new puzzle and gets an award for it at the end, which is cute.
Yeah, very Hollywood ending, them winning all the awards. But
I was quite surprised that was the case. I expected like a Bad News Bear thing where they don't win and it's just, at least we tried next year.
Yeah.
But no, they get the full win, don't they? And he gets to kiss the girl.
Lucky bastard.
But I think overall, a really good show, step in the right direction.
For season 1, a really strong start.
Really strong
Some
start.
promising stuff in there.
Yeah, like it's not maybe as strong as like, because I felt like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, whenever we watched, it's like, oh, they just hit it straight away. They knew exactly what the show was. But that's a bit more of a scripted show. With this, it's like...
It does feel more scripted to me than The Office, though.
Yeah, it's true.
It feels a lot more put together.
Yeah.
But again, that probably just comes down to the lens choices and cinematography things that they're doing. But
yeah. Okay, then. Well, what did you guys think of the paper? Do you think it's a worthy successor to the Office universe, if we can say?
minus the Australian one.
Would you rather watch this or the Australian Office? Let us know.